This is Joel Grind from Toxic Holocaust. You're watching Interview Under Fire.
So welcome back to Texas. Last time you were here was October 2019?
Something like that.
You guys just love
with
it,
Guar,
right?
yeah.
So what do you think of when you hear the word Texas? First thing that comes to mind.
Lone Star.
Okay.
Lone Star beer, probably.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah. Rigor Mortis, the band.
Pantera, Power Trip.
Yeah.
That's come to mind.
Yep.
Barbecue.
Great metal scene here.
Yeah. Barbecue, of course.
Yeah.
Yep. So, new decade. This is 2020. You guys just released an unbelievable record last year, Primal Future. Does it feel like it's like a fresh start to this year now that you've started this tour and with Soulfly? How is that like? Is that what that feels like at this time in your career?
Yeah, sort of. I think just releasing this record after it being 6 years in between albums, it's like that.
The longest
alone.
tenure too.
Yeah, so it's like that alone just feels like a restart. So like coming here with like Guar and stuff like last year at the tail end of last year, it just all kind of feels like a restart of like just starting the cycle back up again and touring and doing everything. Just a lot of stuff happened between the two records, and it's cool to kind of just be out here doing this again.
In 20 years, do you still get nervous before
20
a show?
years? It depends. I mean, it usually happens more so at the beginning of a tour where it's just like, it's more of like, you become, at this part of the stage of the tour, it's more like autopilot, but at the beginning it's like, if you like incorporate new songs into the set and things like that, then you're kind of just, at least for me, I'm looking back in my head like, thinking about the things that could go wrong, but once that's out of the way, then you become, it just.
How has the tour been? I mean, it was kind of a long tour, coming out, you have the tail end of it, finishing things off.
I mean, it's funny, it has been long, and it's like, it kind of feels like we haven't stopped because of the fact that since the Guar tour that started in October, I mean, we've had like a week and a half, in between all the tours, because right after Guar we went to Europe, and then we had like, about like, I don't know, 5 or 6 days, and then we started this, so it was like pretty busy.
I mean, you guys have been touring a lot as of late, but what's your favorite part about just the touring experience in itself?
I mean, honestly, obviously it's the shows, but the other part about it is it's cool to kind of just, see new places, especially like a lot of these tours, I think you can become kind of, almost, I don't know how to describe this, almost like
numb?
Yeah, in a way, because it's you see the same clubs over and over a lot of times, but what really makes it, especially now that I'm doing merch and stuff, so I'm like seeing all the fans and stuff and seeing, how many people are digging the new record, stuff like that, that's the best part, just feeling like that energy of like the fans digging, the stuff we're doing, interacting with them, all that stuff. It kind of just, I think it changes the perspective of just the routine of just going to the shows and playing and stuff. When you're like interacting with people and stuff.
You remember why you do the work that you do.
Yeah.
As the fans. Now, speaking of the fans, you guys, Portland, Oregon, like the way you grew up, 1999, like how has the scene changed? Like you have your fans that you started off when you first played the first two records were like produced in your bedroom, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. Now you.
And now the new record's done in the bedroom too.
Yeah, there you go. They're in a new studio, I believe,
Yep.
right? So have you seen a change of the fan base, from your old school fans to now you're seeing the new fans come up? How has that experience been like with fan-wise too?
I think the coolest part to see is that doing it long enough now, you can actually see how everything is kind of like everything comes in cycles and waves.
Yeah.
Like when I first started, like thrash was pretty much, non-existent. 99, people were mostly playing like tech death and black metal and stuff like that.
Like it was
huge, and like thrash metal was kind of looked at as kind of
like almost
a joke,
like a dying breed of genre. So,
but it's cool to see how it kind of comes in cycles. Like, and then around when Overdose of Death came out, that's like thrash was like becoming, a lot of people back into it again, and then it kind of died off again, and now it's like on like third or fourth wave of that stuff. It's kind of crazy to see it, and now I see like young kids that I see kids that were, weren't even born when Toxic started. And that's scary. I'm like, damn, I feel old as fuck. It's like,
as long as that reminder, okay, I've been playing this for 20 years. So, and now I'm here. It was one of your interviews. You said that Overdose of Death was just about getting your name out there, and we touched on that right before this interview. How I first discovered you on MTV Headbangers Ball.
Mm-hmm.
You know, does it feel like, you know, did you imagine yourself being here at this career, like considering where you started off?
No, never. You know, I think it's a mistake when people kind of. Sometimes I get asked, you know, do you have like advice, and you know what should you do? And I always say I think it's a mistake to get into this kind of stuff. It's only if you love doing this.
Right.
If you do it for any other reason, I think you're going to be very disappointed. If you do it for like money or any other reason, you're going to be disappointed. So it's like
aspect of life, if you put that aspect into it, that, you know, it's a good play into what you're talking about. So.
Yeah. So I feel like that's, you know, you got to do it for the right reasons.
And speaking for the right reasons, you know, it was about the punk rock spirit, you know, and when you first grew up, like the Misfits, were the Misfits like were they an influence on you? Because I'm listening to Primal Future over and over, and I keep getting that vibe, like taking me back to when the Misfits were like.
I mean, I love the Misfits, but I don't know if it's actually an influence on like musically, but I mean, I do love the Misfits, but like, you know, I was always a fan of like Discharge and stuff like that.
Nuclear Assault.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So it's stuff like that. It's like, yeah. I mean, I think it all ends up being an influence at some point. But
now you did 5 albums in 10 years. That's as consistent as bands to go when it comes to releasing music. 1 album in 6 years. What happened during that time frame?
Basically, I started my own business, and then that kind of consumed all my time. I started a recording studio.
Yeah,
so
right.
I wasn't expecting to, you know, get so busy so fast, you know what I mean? So it's like, I think anybody could tell you if they start their own business, it's really hard to like turn down work if you start something, because it's like, what if those people never come back or never give you a chance again? So you want to kind of like do all this, but now I've kind of got my method down to kind of do that and balance that with this. So, but when I first started, it was like, well, you know, I'm going to keep this ball rolling here, and then, you know, it's harder to tour. You know, if you're mixing records for other bands and things like that, it's really hard to, you know, if you have like a consistent schedule of stuff like that, it's really hard to set time away for anything else. You know, so it was basically that, juggling the two things. I was finding hard.
It's almost like kind of returning back to the norm now that you have a new record. Like, okay, I got this new record, now I can do my own shit and just keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, I think because, you know, I made more of a name for myself in mixing and stuff like that, I can tell people it's going to take, you know, I won't be able to do this until this time, and then some of the people will wait, or, you know, they might come back this time, you know, because they have heard what else I've done. Whereas when you first start and no one really knows what you can do, they're going to be like, well, you know, why am I going to wait around for someone I'm not even sure what I'm going to get, you know? So that's kind of the short version of why that took so long. There was also, you know, we switched labels, you know, things like that. There was a whole bunch of things. I was like shopping around at different record labels, stuff like that. So,
considering everything we're talking about, as a person, have your aspirations changed from when you first started out to where you are now?
Honestly, I never really had any aspirations other than making the next record. I never like, people always like want this like grand answer for that. I never really had any like, you know, I want to do this like grand thing. It was more like, you know, when I first started, I was like, it'd be cool to do a demo, you know, and then did the demo, and I'm like, it'd be cool to do an album. And then like, it's so short-sighted, but that's kind of how it really is. Like for me, like I kind of just do it in little increments.
Now, do you have any other, I guess, source of like other interests that feed your creativity in the Toxic Holocaust? You know, that's something that's maybe not even involved in music.
What's weird is like I think music is my only interest. Like, because like outside of like playing music, okay. I collect records and things like that. So it's like somehow revolving around music, you know. And I'm pretty like one-dimensional when it comes to that. But it's just, that's kind of all I've really been interested in. Like somehow, some way, like even like reading books and stuff like that. I always think about like, if it'd be cool to like read this book because it would probably like inspire creativity for writing lyrics, or, you know, stuff that's always somehow revolving around music. So it's funny. I wish I had a better answer for that, but it's true. It's like everything is somehow involving music.
Well, the answer, I mean, it's perfect because you're dedicated to your craft, and I think that's just I appreciate that. You know, I mean, you give me the reason to do what I do when it comes to starting my own music publication. Talk to artists like you, and I get to see like what the creativity is. So that's great. Now, what I was gonna ask is, when you were this Soulfly tour, you know, how did this start? Did you knew Max from years ago, or did you guys plan this tour? You know,
so I never met Max before, but I
Really?
mastered a Cavalier Conspiracy record.
Which one?
The last one that they just put out.
Psychosis?
Yes,
I
Psychosis.
have that with me. Max.
Yeah,
and
great.
So Max signed it, and he said, "This is He said 3 records were one of his favorites in his career. Psychosis.
It's fucking killer. It's so good.
You did a
And,
great job, by the way.
thank you.
Mixing was absolutely
I
flawless.
just mastered it. I mastered it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Since
yeah.
then?
No, I just mastered the record. I didn't mix it. I didn't mix
Hey,
it.
you had playing it, so that's a big deal.
But yeah, that was obviously an honor for me, to be involved in that. But then I don't know if that led to being asked to do this. I don't really know how those inner workings work, with like booking agents and stuff. But basically, like, somehow we got offered to do this tour, and I was like, of course, I'd love to do it. And yeah, it all worked out. This tour is amazing. The crowds have been great, and seeing Soulfly every night, it's been killer. Like, Max has been nothing but welcoming to us. It's been really cool.
That's awesome, man. I can't wait to see you guys just rip it on. There's a lot of bands tonight too. I
heard there's like 4 local bands and then the package.
Yeah, so
it's like a festival.
So it's gonna be a great turnout tonight. Now I want to get into Primal Future. You talked about going lo-fi with this record. That's my partner, by the way. But you talked about going lo-fi with this record and about how bringing more reverb into the sound. How did the development for this record start? When did the plan for having a new record start? Because you were busy.
I mean, it started 6 years ago, basically. Like,
Really?
like I'm always thinking about the next thing, but the time is always an issue. It's like it's hard to like. If you have a lot of things you want to do, it's hard to just find time to do them all. And sometimes you got to wait till things all kind of fall into place when everything kind of works out for timing issues and everything. And I mean, it took 6 years, but it was finally the right time to do it. So
how do you
I
feel
did
the
it.
final product?
I'm really happy with it, man. I mean, it's after doing this long enough, I knew going into it what I wanted it to sound like. And I wanted it to be kind of a complete contrast to the last one. The last one was very dry, in your face, like very like, I mean, of course aggressive, but like really like distorted and fuzzy, and that was the sound I was going for then. But for this one, I wanted to do something totally different, like much longer songs, more reverb, more expanded like arrangements, stuff like that. So.
I feel like 6 albums, like listening to Primal Future, man, the title track Primal Future, holy shit.
We're gonna start doing that song. We're not doing it tonight, but we're gonna start playing that one live.
So the riffs that you had in that song, I don't think I've ever stopped headbanging your song as much as that. So I've been listening to that album religiously. Now, do you have a favorite song off the record?
It's actually probably Primal Future. I'm excited to play that one live. When I wrote that one, I was like, this one would be so good to play like those European festivals and stuff, because it's that like perfect tempo for that kind of stuff, where they all like the festival stuff is like a whole other level of like fan interaction, and those kind of riffs and stuff work really well over there.
I actually want to touch base on that. What do you see the difference between playing festivals out in Europe as opposed to playing just technically shows in the US? It's just actual tours as opposed to playing festivals. Is there a big difference?
I think there's a lot more alcohol going on in Europe. You'll get a lot more wasted over there.
Okay.
Which usually leads to a lot more, antics and craziness. But I mean, honestly, both are good. It's just a different, culturally, it's a little different. Metal is like ingrained in society in Europe. It almost seems like, it's just like people,
You mentioned,
I mean, here too, but it's like Texas is a great example. California is a great example of like where it's like that. But it's a little different, throughout the country. But you go to a place like Germany and it's like insane,
all they do is drink there, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I want to talk about Tyler and Eric. You mentioned that before this interview, that they are full-time with the band. How did it come to?
It's actually Rob now on guitar.
What happened to who are we dropping?
Rob is the guitar player.
Oh, okay. So Rob is the 4th guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
so
it's still 3-piece.
Oh, okay. So have Rob.
Different guitar player.
So are they going to be full-time with the band now officially, or?
Yeah,
because you do everything yourself, man. Like when you come to like, you know, the bar.
Yeah, I mean the studio stuff. I'll probably still be, doing the stuff in the studio.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, these guys are awesome to tour with and killer musicians. And it's been great.
So do you have any plans? You're about to finish up this tour. Any plans after this tour?
Just, depending on the coronavirus bullshit, going to Europe this summer and doing the festivals and all that stuff. So that's pretty much the plans right now, but I'm looking forward to those. We usually do the festivals every summer. Last year we didn't because basically we're waiting for the record to come, the new one to come out.
Right.
Once that did, now the cycle starts again, and I'm just gonna keep hitting it.
I want to finish up this interview because you did touch on this, and I was debating if I wanted to touch on this topic or not, considering I just spoke to Max. What is your opinion on everything that's happening in the world? Is this going to be, I guess, a negative aspect for the band as far as touring? Will that impact you as far as what you want to do this year?
With the coronavirus?
Yeah, just.
I mean,
just
it remains to be
musicians
seen.
aspect.
I mean, it remains to be seen because it's like, I don't know how far it is like where it's being pushed as like some like crazy pandemic thing that isn't really a big deal, like, or is it really, a big deal? It's hard to say. It's like, but
And tours are canceled.
but the canceling thing, yeah, it's like, I mean, we're kind of fortunate that we're on the second to last show right now because if this was the beginning of the tour, who knows if the shows would be canceled and things like that. So
I believe California, San Francisco, they stopped the large gatherings.
Seattle too.
Seattle too, yeah, and that's close to home. Too,
Yeah, yep.
So,
so I mean,
hopefully you guys are safe. When you guys get done with this tour. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to get a musician's aspect when it comes to.
luckily I'm a hermit, so I don't ever go outside.
I think we're all going to be after this. So I'm going to finish up with one more question. I think you did actually answer if you weren't a musician, what would you be doing? I think that's impossible. I think you're just going to be a musician.
Right.
Actually,
Maybe homeless. I don't know.
I think that's the one.
I'll probably be homeless anyway.
Okay, this question I want to know because I feel like you have a good one for this. What's an artist that you haven't collaborated with that you would like to do?
Wow.
Doesn't have to be metal, but any artist that you can think of that you would like to collaborate with.
That's a tough one, man.
Plug it in if you need to.
I'm gonna throw a wild card out there and say Trent Reznor.
Oh my gosh! So you're not the only person who said that. So
Because I think that'd be cool because he's like so like with the gear aspect and everything, just experimental and does a lot of off the wall stuff.
Considering what you just said, all your albums coming together, that'd be a great element to like even add to just the music you already produced. So awesome.
Something
man.
different, man.
Yeah. All right, Joel, man.
Hey, thanks so
appreciate it.
much.
Go
Appreciate
crush it. Be safe out there. Have a great show. I can't wait to see you guys rip it out tonight.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Hope you guys come back to Texas soon because
We love playing Texas. Texas rules.